It is going to be Cafe to come through.
There we go.
You pushed it into the...
No!
No!
Did you not put the cable in right?
No, I did.
Just in number 3.
It was in
instead
the
of number...
hole.
Yeah. Milosh. Yeah, that's exactly what he
now.
said, medics. Either way, anyway,
It's
hey,
plugged
welcome.
into the wrong slot.
We want to do...
These things happen.
Yeah, it happens. I was so confused as well. It's like, it looks good.
It looked fine.
I don't understand.
It's, you know.
I don't understand. No. They could have just pressed this button as well. That would have worked.
It could have. I wonder what happens if I press these buttons. Now the sound team, the sound guy's worrying there.
It's actually Stefan that came over.
Stefan came over.
The Dutch, a little bit
it.
less disappointment.
How did he know?
I don't know. He just probably checked it. Well, actually, he works in production nowadays as well.
He does.
You know, so it's.
Apparently he sabotaged it. Apparently it's Stefan's fault. Even though he fixed it. This is according to Medics, who's in our
Yeah,
ears.
Medics is trying.
Medics is saying that it was
set up the
Stefan's
narrative
fault.
here. It's actually really fun because if you ever need to know a backstory of anything, you can ask Medics and you get the best story out of it.
It is true. I had we'll talk about these bands in a second. I had a joke set up to take the throw. It feels a little bit late to use it now.
No, it's okay. You know what? I'm gonna let's have our casters. Em and Hap.
Oh, hi, welcome to Cafe Part 2, because to be fair, what they played last Playday was barely a Part 1. We're going to see if they can actually try and make something happen here. Cyclops, we're back. Hey, look at those bands that we'll go back to in a second. Monty is gone, remove some of the play there and some of the claustrophobia that could otherwise happen from those pushes. But yes, it is truly an attempt for them to try to salvage what was really nothing from the last Playday.
Yeah. And when you think and you didn't watch the game, you're like, what do you mean, really nothing, Emmy? Then we actually mean absolutely nothing. Like, they had 0 rounds on the board after 7 of them, and 6 of their attack, you know, they had 6 attacks. So it is a bit rough to start on the attack here on this map. So this time around, we'll start out on the defense, see if we will see any change to come up. FAV, as mentioned before, is yet to beat Cyclops and are basically being out-rounded 1 by 2 rounds. So for each round they win, it's almost 2 that are being won by Cyclops. The Carcel rehost bug. What's a Carcel? Oh.
Cursor, maybe.
Oh, cursor. Anaton took a bit of damage there. Aegator as well. Seems like they're a bit skirmishing on the Cyclops side. Get out.
I think they're waiting.
They're having a... Imagine if this round doesn't get rehosted now. It's surely going south here.
They asked for it.
And they're going for the spawn pick. They still managed to get the kill here. So it's a 4v5.
He's outside in their spawn.
What?
It's not that he's a spawn peak. Galarado has run into their spawn. We're waiting for word that this has been confirmed as a rehost. They did ask for it.
Yeah,
but
they didn't confirm.
He's having a good time with it. Because he was literally, he wasn't spawn peeking.
No.
He was in their spawn.
Okay.
There we go. There it is. That was, sorry, we was waiting on admins to confirm things there.
That's it.
Confirmed.
I assume it has been
You can
confirmed.
still hear the violence.
We can still hear the violence in the background of them destroying the entire map and downing each other.
E1Ds just popped
E1D
off.
and D, but then the sound stopped. So
There we go. Now we're no longer able to cast what was going on.
unfortunately not. It was a wild start of the round though.
So I had tech problems.
They have
so
tech
the
problems.
So the next one is that
my mic suddenly stops working as well.
hopefully not. I was going to say, well, we've had a problem over here, so maybe Milosh, the android, breaks down.
Maybe.
No,
Who
Milosh
knows?
is an android. If
I thought
Milosh
I was
like
the android.
A Wookiee. It's big and hairy.
I still need to hear the Wookiee
You're
sound.
Dutch. Yeah, you're not an android. You're Dutch.
Okay. I like how this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Milosh could do a Wookiee sound if he wanted.
Can you do a Wookiee sound, Milosh?
Like Chewbacca.
Jess can. Jess.
Can.
I would never. I would never. I can't speak anymore. I would have never seen Jess as a Chewbacca.
No, Jess is an Ewok. Let's be real.
He's like looking away in shame now.
Yeah, well, you know, the Ewoks famously
kinda
won
see
the
it now,
fight
actually.
and had a great party afterwards.
Yeah, I can understand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Tiny, cute, and fluffy.
isn't that what is that?
Attacks people with big sticks.
Oh, that's the small ones, yeah?
Yeah.
Sorry, I got them messed up with Chewbacca. I'm sorry.
Hap. Yes, they are.
I know. They're the small ones. The small little teddy bears, right?
Somewhere, Data Leader, the cosplayer, is just shaking his head.
I'm sorry. I apologize firmly for quickly being distracted by the conversation, swapping from Chewbacca.
Hey, we're in a rehost situation. We'll be back in the game shortly. Thank you for sticking with us here on Hap&M Flights. We are making our descent into Cafe Dostoyevsky again very soon.
Oh, actually, let's get the airport in front of it.
We've had a wonderful flight.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, on the way, we lost Monty.
And we lost the cursor.
We lost Monty. I'm trying to remember the bands now. Monty, Nomad, Valkyrie, and Maestro. We lost.
They all had parachutes. Don't worry.
But But what's different now that we don't have these four?
Well, we do know that Cyclops loves to play a bit of Monty every now and then on their pushes.
We also lost Suzu C, apparently.
Yeah, he just went to the toilet or anything like that. Either way. So I think, you know, Maestro, of course, very strong operator, especially in that top floor. We often do see the Evil Eyes being set up here and there. The Monty will be making sure that, for example, you know, that those pushes we know Cyclops really love to pull off every now and then are off the board. So, I don't know, we're going to have to wait and see how it eventually plays out. As I believe, as you can see there, just one person left.
Are you looking at Anaton's monitor as well?
I'll look at Anaton's monitor. I'm like, show us that. Oh, he knows. He all tapped out. There he is. All time members are back in, so we can get going. We can go to Cafe. You've reached the destination. Just please stay seated and keep your seatbelts on while we're taxiing.
Mm-hmm. And thank you for flying with us. Des and Tim do look like they could be pilots.
I thought we were pilots.
No, we're the air hostesses and air host.
Okay, yeah.
With the most.
So we do like the security thing.
Yeah, like, yeah. It's you and I just sit there.
If pressure
like,
drops, you just grab the mask,
and
you pull out
put the mask on.
Put it on.
And we do that.
Put your mask off first.
I don't know why.
The personal mask before.
Jess is the one that like.
She's that kid that starts panicking.
No, I was gonna say like loads all the luggage and like looks threatening. Like you see them in the high vis.
Was in the military,
and they have like the sticks, and you're like, you know.
I recently found out that there is a 23 kilogram limit on the bags, not because of the actual load on the plane, but because the workers are not allowed to carry more because of the union. But if you have more, you can just pay extra. I'm like, do they suddenly not carry anymore?
Well, union, you know. Okay, enough about our airplane.
We're in the game!
We're in the game. We're back. We're back in. We're here, and now we get to see if Cyclops have learnt some lessons. Because to be honest, if they've learnt just one, we'll potentially see a better performance than previously. FAV have had some bitter fights throughout this split so far. They're obviously sitting just a little bit prettier than Cyclops are, but still, it's dangerous because you're now facing Cyclops who know that they have a lot to prove. They have so much to try and fight their way back in because it's sort of similar to what Mantis XC9 suffered, where it was a very quick fall from grace.
It was definitely. Actually, 3 rounds better is what they're currently sitting at. So it's not a big difference between the two of them. That will change today, though. Scatterad again trying to go for the spawn pick. This time not sitting inside their spawn to try and figure it out. Will be spotted by the E1D, but...
I thought he was about to run out under the E1D then. I really thought he was just going to go for it.
I mean, it's Cyclops still in the end, you know. It wouldn't be surprising if they would and try these sort of things every now and then. Next E1D will pop, however, that means 2 already gone. Nothing really found as a result. Just people moving around, but no one in a position to try and work anything from it. So I'm kind of confused as to why we had 2 E1Ds this early.
Yeah, it's a bit of concern on the control. They're looking towards the potential run out here, but it's obviously castled at this point in. It buys them some freedom. That's the big danger of if you're going for this Eastern Front take here across that flat face where it has a lot of jump out angles, and it has opposite-ended jump out angles as well. There's only really one flat way back through. You can go for the hop off and the hop round and try and get in via the bottom of white stairs if you're feeling very risky, but it's likely you get caught, and that's the sort of player. It's entirely risk for reward. There's no safety that is really offered in that sort of position. but you're against Cyclops, and FAV know this, and FAV know that they're a team that loves to lean into those.
Bridge has been made. An access point into the piano is now there. Gadarada still playing below, though. That's the opportunity to jump out from one of these windows. However, pressure still there. Currently being watched by some of the FAV members. Number 2 up on the rappel. Whereas Suzuki just putting up a new Surya laser gate. They seem to be aware that the push is coming down from the top floor, but of course the site is not. It is one floor down. It means that these mirror windows that Anaton is currently playing are in a very good spot. They will have to clear them. It's just going to be difficult to do so.
Just missed the hop out on the whiskey window there, but Anaton is getting so aggressive. Shin leans into that, leans back against them. The spray gave the game away where he was, and that puts some pressure back in, gives them a mantle of opportunity. There is a body underneath, inside the train room, and I think that that's where they're trying to clear out right now. Gadarada is causing a couple of problems. Doesn't quite have a C4 in pocket to cause even more problems. Does have a castle wall just in case, but with iGator with a bit of a split cover here, they're going to see if they can catch somebody who thinks there's only one. There it is. The diffuser as well, 20 seconds, and suddenly they found themselves in a really tricky situation. A couple of pickups come through for the favor. Shin battles back, but with 15 seconds, they got to see if they can try and recollect this diffuser on the opposite side and clean their way back across. Gadarada is dug up and locked in on side the train chassis itself, but number 2 finds the angle.
They knew there was only one place he could really hide, and yeah, just spotted it out right there. Managed to pick up the kill beautifully and just in time. There was not much time left. The diffuser was dropped, and FAV pick up their first round. Cyclops continue their losing streak in Cafe so far, are currently 0-8 in the last 2 maps that they've played here.
I think this is the thing about Cyclops now, because we know that they can be a great Cafe team.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of problem is, if you're a team that's in a slump, that's one thing. A lot of teams slump. Sometimes it's a longer slump. Sometimes it is a more extreme slump if it's a fall from grace, a la Rogue, a la XC9 Mantis. And you're looking at Cyclops now and you're thinking, yeah, a la Cyclops. Because we really get the true taste of it now is if it was just a really bad day at the office, a one-off, amongst some other slumpy moments. Or if they start sort of being pressured here again by FAV, 2 weeks, or not 2 weeks, 2 play days in a row on a good map for them, and it's the alarm bells.
Yeah, truly. Also, I wouldn't say that, you know, Rogue is a team that goes into a slump. They just have stage 2 muted for some reason. You know, they don't know what that is. They don't know the existence of it. Either way, back to the game at hand. FAV with that first attacking round will definitely be starting it off strong here. It is the least favorite side on this map, usually speaking. So let's see if they can extend this lead, because it started off quite okay for Cyclops. They managed to drop the diffuser. It's just that the trades ever since went in favor of FAV, who managed to get a bit of an advantage out. Eventually managed to get the kill at the very final dying seconds of the round. So you cannot rely on that consistently happening every single round, because at one point the gunfight will just go the other way.
Now, as they try to steady on and pull themselves a bit closer here, it's eyes on, I guess, Shin, who was a big part and got the early pick in the first play before. Sure, it was backed up by number 2. They got quite aggressive together, but if they can try and find the lead in, well, they don't. Type on. Goes down.
Did he fall off the roof?
I think he fell. He did a slip.
There's no way he fell, right? Did he not get shot through the window or something? Like, get down on... Is that window open on the first floor? Second floor, I mean... No, okay, he must have fell.
He must... But how would he have fallen?
I have no clue how he would have fallen. I mean...
The only thing I can think is he was being shot as he rappelled up from a window.
Yeah, but the windows are all closed.
I think one of the piano windows is open.
Oh, maybe... No, the piano windows were also closed. Maybe it was the double door on the left.
Yeah, one piano window, top right.
Oh, okay. Maybe I missed that one. Either way.
The mysteries.
The mysteries are all there, but FAV continue to stay into this match for 5v5, at least in this round for now. Waiting to try and see if they can maybe find a spot where they can clear out this top floor. However, the pressure on that top floor is not really coming down from the cocktail side. It's near whites and planks. So that is what they need to clear out as the drop's already coming through. That's a alibi just laying down underneath the Prisma. Blackray has no way of dropping. Turns the feed, and that's the kill to come through. It's a trait to come in from Aegator, though.
I mean, with that hatch locked, it's such a tricky play at that situation. You really just go all in on a hold, and with how quick FAV were to put the pressure on across the board there, it was just an easy pickup in the end. One that they didn't even need to enter for.
Yep.
They just had the hold on the window and could put the pressure from multiple different points. But just under a minute left now, and we're seeing Cyclops trying to lean in. There's the audio from a drop. There's the drop on the man on the door. The cover gets caught and doesn't get the revenge. Lugator almost caught it, but knows that they have more pressing and pressure matters that they need to build. Most notably the mirror, where they've just dropped behind 2.
They just have that mirror control now. The plan's going down. 45 seconds soon to be on the clock. That's the first kill not to come through. Number 2 will not be able to land it, but Aegator, he's holding the exit here. Spots a player to come through. Sees the gun, goes to the pre-fire and gets the kill. But Typon is above still. Will be able to lock it down just ever so slightly as number 2 is the last man left. Gets the hipfire headshot somehow, but lost the top floor control. The plant and the denying. The defuse could be coming in any second now as Aegator is right on it. Is there a vertical angle they can use? He needs to be quick though if he wants to. It is there. He gets that kill. 19 seconds left on the clock. He's on 1 HP. Suzuki now needs to go for it. Is he going to be able to stick it instead? No, he goes off yet once more. He knows he needs to go for the challenge. 3 seconds left, and this round will go to FAV yet once more. There you go. No more time. Number 2 will just peek in for the kill, but he doesn't even have to. Gets it eventually, and FAV win round number 2.
What a calm and collected clutch by number 2. Knew where he wanted to be in that situation. Obviously, the hipfire headshot won him the first fight and put him on such a delicate amount of health, but the rotation, keeping the pace and making sure he didn't accidentally overextend, taking care of the business that he needed to,
Yep.
and most importantly, pulling off and not, again, trying to double down there, led to a round that almost slipped away from them. Cyclops just lost out. Yet again, they couldn't quite claw it in. It's scrappy, it's aggressive, but at least it's better from Cyclops.
It's competitive. Let's put it up like that. They're coming close to winning these rounds. Just to pull in that final straw now to make sure that they're actually pulling them in. There's just no plan denial coming through. They had no clue. The hatch, of course, was dropped. The mirror window was out there. That provides you a lot of cover over the site. There's no attempt from FAV of actually using that as number 2 here. Picking up that kill on Anaton, just a hipfire headshot. Should have been a guaranteed kill. That should have been a round for Cyclops.
He was so close to defuse it.
He was so close to defusing.
Like
He was
0.4.
taking his sweet time.
And second, well,
that was going to be too late anyway. Started at
that one was going to be too late. The first one was about 0.4. It wasn't the closest we've seen, but
it's close. It's close, and that means that this is a very competitive game so far. I mean, number 2, he just wanted to make sure he was taking his time, not really giving away his plan on going onto the top floor. You know, maybe someone was actually still hiding there. You don't want him to know when you're peeking, so didn't go at the fullest pace. What's important is that in the end he managed to get that clutch. So 1v3 to secure the game, the round. Game is a bit early. We're still 2 rounds in.
I was going to say, we're only 2 rounds in. Galarada and Anaton haven't quite been able to find their way into this game as of yet. A bit of a worry because they couldn't do the same previously, really. It's one of the things where these two, when they show up, can be very, very powerful. Anaton is obviously most notable for the plays that they did in the Monty. It's a consistent removal now, so you still expect them to be able to step up in other regards, but also they can step into firefights. They've been a bit of a beacon for the team, and here not quite having that connection is just, is it something where the longer that goes on into this game, the more worrying it becomes. Aegator opens up 1, gets dropped and traded by number 2, who finds yet another for his tally. 6 kills, no deaths, but now I've said it out loud, it's potentially got a little bit of a black mark on it, and that becomes the worry.
There could definitely be a bit of a curse on it now. Up to the roof is inbound. Shin going back into the repellent piano. They surely soon will find out. Blackray's in there as the wall gets opened up. There we go. That's the kill to come through. Blackray just challenges it with the MX4 Storm. Higher fire rate, low recoil. Not using the angled grip on it, actually. But now the opening comes in. Piano will be soon under control of FAV, especially as Blackray is forced to fall back. Will be able to deal a little bit of damage to Type Bomb, but nothing too big yet. least the pressure is on. They have a bit of new balcony presence. They now need to find a kill or two to allow themselves to truly go on with this attack. But even if they don't, well, with this piano control, they might even be able to just sneak in a plant.
They're hoping that someone stretches a little bit wide here, but Cyclops are playing themselves closer to the cards to the chest. They're not overstretching here. They know that FAV are very good at punishing that, and with number 2 still on a screamer on this game so far, they know they can't offer them any more potential 1 versus 1s. The drop is setting themselves up for this skylight as they see if they can dig either of the 2 bodies just around the freezer side, one in the core of the vault itself, and one just playing off on the other split. Of the storage side, it's actually the red drop that comes through with black-gray underneath, another E1D. They try to find a bit of a bout of pressure, but nobody gives.
Not yet, at least they might try and find themselves behind one of the bars to try and go for the plant, but there is still going to be presence inside freezer, inside the pixel area. They need to clear these out if they want to go for it. And number 2, he just goes deep, tries to go for an aggressive play right here, gets spotted out, doesn't land the shot. However, Lugator will be able to find one in return. That's the second one for him. So it's a 2-on-2 situation, and just pressure to come down from the freezer. Now pixel, and of course inside of the cocktail balcony as well. There's 10 seconds on the clock. It's a 1v2 situation. The plan goes down. They just need to cover now, as black-gray needs to find a way to stop this from happening. Gets the first, but Lugator decides to not stick it. He goes off, and that's black-gray with the clutch to come through. And that's the first round that Cyclops managed to win on this map in 2 weeks now.
Well, they found it. They finally found it. I think they have a bit of a breath of relief now, and it still came down to a clutch. Although we're talking and we're angling so far the story of this game to be around Cyclops, can they find a return to grace? FAV keeping this competitive, FAV putting pressure on as a team that haven't quite been able to, is still a big story. It's still a big aspect because, as we said at the beginning, they're not having the smoothest run either. They're getting very close, but very close isn't always it. And here, if they can still keep this fight going all the way to the end, they can really put the pressure back onto Cyclops, who are taking timeout very early to talk about that success. Because
I've always wondered something.
Go on.
Hybrid, of course, is being an Italian coach for Cyclops.
Yeah.
I believe his Japanese and stuff wasn't quite fluent. Yeah. How does he talk to them during... Do they have a translator in the timeout? See, this just came up to my mind.
I don't think he's the only...
No, I don't think so, but isn't it like he always does the interview, so you would assume that he's the one that
I'll be honest,
responsible
he likely always does the interviews because he's...
That's also true.
...fluent in English.
Maybe that's the reason. I don't know. I would just like to know whether or not it's him that does a tactical timeout somehow, or if it's a different support staff that takes care of it.
I would hazard to guess a different support. I could be wrong.
I have to guess as well, but
I could be wrong. You never know. But either way, we're back in. They've taken that timeout because, to be fair, a clutch round win still isn't comfortable.
No.
They're aware that they're sort of flying through this game by... you know, the seat of their pants here, and they need to try and find a way to settle it down. They need to try and find a way to dictate some of the action and the pace, because if it keeps being this tornado of chaos, sure, they were a team that opted for it, but usually dragging other teams into that whirlwind here, they're kind of losing that grip, they're being swept along, and they are looking for a bit of stability against a team that's otherwise able to punish them so far.
They've definitely been able to punish so far FAV towards Cyclops. FAV already have an idea as well. They know that they can win this game. Something they're not really used to do against Cyclops. They just need to make sure that everything sticks. But as said on the desk before, they always manage to find the advantage and then creatively manage to find a way to lose it. It's unfortunate, but it's literally been the case many of times in APAC so far, and you hate to see it because they are definitely highly skilled individuals. It's just like one small mistake every single time ruins the entire round and potentially the match for them.
Well, now as they try and put their pressure down underneath, they're concerned about the swing on the windows. It's Anaton that puts some bullets towards Typon. Doesn't get anything more than a scratch, and that's why FAV are concerned, because they know that, well, this is a team that loves to explore. the options. Retaking the mantle on Whiskey Window to see if anybody is down on the far side. Not quite a connection as of yet, but there's still one more body to try and swing their way through. If they think they're comfortable, well, they're going to be proven wrong. The C4 catches the first. There's one more body to go through. Black Gray with the double on the door says no serving today in this bakery. Puts a lot of pressure now onto the FAV approach. There's the man on the top window drop. Daniton removed from Whiskey by Typon, who held that for as long as he needed to, and allows him to move up.
And it's Black Ray allowed to rotate back towards the side. A bit of pressure was coming down towards the prep window, but nothing too big and nothing he couldn't deal with. And now finding himself safe inside of the site. And the FAV will have to do quite a bit of work, actually, to try and clear this out. They decide to go for a bit of a top floor take, rappelling all the way up to the roof. At least one of them is Lugator. And Afro opening up the windows, hoping to see if they can maybe find a way to success from a top-down approach. Question, of course, is will they? There's still going to be that roamer. Gatorada just hiding across the corner as the hatch gets opened up, but instantly you see the Hibana jumping back down, probably making his way back towards the actual bakery. And on the balcony, maybe to try and contest, see if they can find Gatorada up here.
They have time, and they're making the most of it as they sort of go for the full stretch of the intel. The drones are working across the top, but unfortunately for them, so is Gatorada. He's going for a run out all the way around after they just fixed the door, and now it gets fixed once again. They expected a fight to come from the top here. I mean, it was bold. Poorly communicated, but it was bold. Yeah,
it was definitely bold indeed. Managed to pick up that kill at least. The diffuser has been recovered here. Afro has it in hand. And the hatch, of course, was soft. They managed to open that one up, but they're not really going for it. It's just a bit of pressure to come down towards Cyclops. However, as the bandit of Aegator is now on the top floor, they will find out. No one is currently up on the top floor, especially with the pick from Wedding. Able to find out that they are indeed trying to push from here on. The opening comes through. The wallbang, however, from Black Race to Strong gets one. Afro in the middle of the side will soon be surrounded by literally everybody as Gatorada chased him through their own rotation and picks up the kill. It's Cyclops to win the round with the bailiff shot just to finish it off.
Oh, you don't see many bailiff kills?
You don't see them often,
rare.
no, definitely not.
2-2. Cyclops have already had a 200% improvement.
Well, actually, you know, if you, 2 times 0 is not possible, so they've been.
It's not 2 times 0.
It's actually 0 if you do that.
It's a percent basis. They're at 0%.
Isn't it infinitely better if you go from 0 to hero?
Maybe.
I don't know either anymore. Petron, you were the one with the mathematics degree. Please tell us.
We can't. Does he have a mathematics degree?
I think he does. Yeah, I think
That's
it's
cool.
masters even.
Wow. And yet there was still an argument about EPP rating. I would have just gone with the person with the maths masters, to be honest.
I actually went against it and said.
Did you? I just didn't get involved, but now I know that.
See, I think a number is better than a percentage in that case for visual.
Wow.
But you know, I'm just weird like that. As Medic said, I'm Dutch. So
He did say that.
that is.
And you are Dutch.
It's not. It's factually not wrong. So
Actually, not wrong.
it's just my excuse and everything. If I mess up some words, I'm Dutch. No, it's a joke.
It is a joke. And what isn't is this serious business game where we're starting to see Cyclops return to the aforementioned business of seriousness with their trademark joy in it. A huge rotation, big plays from windows. That's Cyclops to a T. And that's a game that they're never going to really hand back over. It's down now to FAV to make sure that it doesn't become what is the Cyclops show when they start to run away with it, because they are 100% a team that if they find joy, they find confidence in it, and that confidence leads to more joy and leads to more outrageous plays. They're more than happy to keep pushing the game and the envelope to a position where it's not just serious business, it's funny business, it's monkey business, and it's other forms of comedic business.
What other forms of business are there?
I'm out of business forms.
We could ask Daz, he's CEO after all. As Daz going to be Black Ray just escaping death there. Shin trying to open up, but hitting the Prisma. Now Lugator, though, just nearly escaping death himself as Black Ray rotates up the white stairs. Probably heard that repel, but decided not to act upon it, as he could not guarantee the win of the gunfight. Not that has stopped Cyclops many times before, but As they are, of course, a little bit further down the scoreboard, currently in 7th place. They are in need of picking up some of these rounds and wins. The points are desperately needed. And as again an opening into the piano is made, surely soon the top floor will actually completely fall into the hands of FAV. Unless Anatun has anything to say about that with his yokai drone, of course, with the cover from BlackRay to come in through.
That's it. BlackRay is yet again in a very tricky situation here, dug in on the far corner, and FAV are going to see if they can exploit it to the same manner that they did before. The Echo drone's going to offer at least some support, but hey, look at that! This time around, the hatch is open. BlackRay has an escape. He is not left to die to the fight, but Ayagator lifts out 2 of them and removes them from the gameplay itself. They entirely locked in on the chance at taking care of the kill that they did previously, and this time Cyclops has punished it with a huge double kill C4.
To be careful that that doesn't happen again as the floor is being opened up here. A player was spotted, but they weren't able to act upon it, just quickly escaping each other as they're chasing each other through the holes in the floor. And BlackRay still staying put, being very confident here that this spot is not being wallbanged, because it's definitely being wallbanged. As Ayagator picks up one, BlackRay picks up yet another, and it's only up to Afro now. The last man standing gets stunned by the yokai drone. He will be chased surely soon by these members of Cyclops. He can already hear them coming. There comes the mirror, and Ayagator picks up the kill. It's a flawless round, and this starts to seem more like the Cyclops we know.
That's it. As I said, they build themselves into a point of joy, and that improves their play. 3 rounds in a row, though. FAV, unfortunately, have looked a little bit less in the game, a little bit lost in the source. They went for a similar take before, but it was well read and punished by Cyclops. They played into that. And that's one of those terrifying things against a team in Siege is if they're adapting to your takes live in the game, it becomes such a powerful entity. They have one more round, one more chance to get themselves level pegging here. It is Cafe. It does play well into the defender's hands, sure. Which is a whole other conversation, but what we need to look into right now and what we need to isolate is the control of the pace. Those first 2 rounds, entirely FAV. Since then, there was a little bit of a mix in the middle one, that first round that Cyclops took, but since, it's just getting stronger and stronger.
And they have been refining or rediscovering their confidence here, especially in that last round where you just swing. They know where you are, they get the stuns in, and this is the Cyclops we know. The Cyclops many got to love. So, you know, even though they have had a bit of a rough start to this stage, you can see that it's just merely hidden away in the surface. Just needs to be dug up a little bit, and that's exactly what seems to be happening right now. This could be the game where Cyclops go back to their normal form if they manage to continue on like this. But first, let's see if they are able to pick up another defensive round, put themselves up to 4, because that is when you have a pretty okay split, a decent split. But it's also when the hard work will start, because Cyclops were not able to win a single attacking round in the last time they played Cafe. So they will have to improve on that, surely, and we'll have to do so against FAV right now. Again, Spawn Peak's coming through, a bit of a pressure being pushed up towards the Christmas market. Typon seems to be aware, just holding for a potential jump out as he's waiting for the rest of his teammates to get up close to the wall and start rappelling up.
It's the caution that they paid before, and it's fair to pay it because they know that they're a team that will strike quick. Seeing if they can get themselves set up here to punish Lumber if anybody goes for a bit of a stretcher around. But it's the hop out from underneath, almost got 2. This is dangerous. They slip their way back in. Got a rudder. Unpunished somehow for that run out, for that rotation. Lugator so close to not only dropping all of the hard breach, the diffuser cold on the roof.
You know, the worst thing about that would have been if the diffuser would have dropped down on the ground all the way. If you're standing against that wall, you cannot just rappel down from the roof because the player at the bottom will always have the advantage. So they would have to go to a different side, rappel down, jump over the edge, and then pick up the kill eventually. So, Cyclops there doing some good business, knowing one will be on top of the red hedge though. So, probably a Nitro cell will be prepped to be tossed over the railing as soon as they do drop. Question, of course, will be, will there be cover? Is Ayagator ready, waiting for the rotation? Oh, that might be watched, actually. Maybe that's what they're trying to aim for here. Pre-fires wallbangs attempted, but just over 2 heads there, just falling short and shy. Otherwise, that could have suddenly been a 4v3 situation. Imagine if he managed to get both on the wallbang.
He's close with the shotgun to make sure nobody goes for an aggressive swing here, but FAV know that they need to try and take a little bit of property. If they are playing around on all the soft that's on the entrance to Cigar, it's C4s underneath. They know the presence. They know a pulse is on the board because he's already hopped out. They cannot spend too long there because that happens. Gatorada has taken one more for the trouble, and the pulse is going to read that intel back, but the drop on the swing gets one, doesn't get the revenge. Gatorada stopped after a triple, but with Black Ray meeting them at the top, Cyclops refused to let FAV have any ground.
It's like you get one, then there's a second one who will kill you, and your teammate takes care of him. You're like, surely this push now is done. But no, Black Ray coming up on the top from the piano as well. Now Afro debating whether or not to actually use a grenade to try and dismantle him, but that won't happen. And it's a 1v3 as Afro gets picked up. Black Ray with the final kill to come through. It's a 2-on-4 to end the half. And that means Cyclops now will be going back to the attack. The side where previously last week they were not able to win a single round out of 6. So this is where the true test comes in. This is where Cyclops needs to show that they've made improvements to this map to justify running it back.
One of the things that I liked there was that they were still on the drone. They were still pinging and sort of playing around with those echo drones that are now on the board and potentially going to cause problems for them. In response, Finker is in the hands, the operator who's seen a huge resurgence with the new health system that's in the game and all of the pocket utility that she can bring. Anderton still hasn't quite had a full connection, but in fairness, the way that they were playing before, we saw them actually feeding intel and stuff like that. So it is comparable to some of the roles that they play. I'm curious to see how they run the Finker.
8
that is
grenades.
A lot of grenades. Will it be enough?
I hope it will be enough. Imagine if they're not picking up a single kill with that.
8 grenades, 1 Jaeger.
Yeah, he's gonna have to place these ADSs very tactically to try and stop it from happening. And even if he plays them all in the same direction, just 2 operators necessary to get rid of all of them. So it is going to be difficult for the defenders to not be harassed by these grenades here. Cyclops decided to bring 4 operators who carried them, including 2 operators with a Gon 6 and 2 impacts on Zofia. Not a single piece of utility will be safe here today. And the Mew Jammers, well, they have put those into place to hopefully stop the intel gathering that Cyclops is trying to put up with. But, you know, that doesn't really seem to be the plan, as they have this many grenades. Probably just going to try and pre-nade every single spot someone might be hiding in.
Well, Gator is pre-firing all the windows. Gator opening them up as much as possible as they get themselves up towards the skylight. I can tell you one thing that we're not going to see, the smoke take. I can tell you one thing we're likely going to see, a lot of grenades being thrown towards the back line of this site for now. They're going to see if they can dig them round towards where the Echo is holding and get the crack there. They'll probably just drop one if they don't use the Gon 6 to take care of that barbed wire under the skylight as well when in Rome. And when in Rome with 8 grenades and a couple of Gon 6s, may as well. The first falls, doesn't quite get the connection, but does, I believe, get one of the barbs. And now they're going to look towards red.
Yeah, that was a grenade that Gatorada had. Trying to get some information out now. Yokai is being spotted out. That's the one they actually tried to get with the grenade, I believe. Making sure that the Yokai was taken care of. A second attempt, and that one actually popped. You saw the little bit of destruction particles fly through the actual roof there. And that means that mission accomplished. Still 6 grenades left to do your work with. And there's going to be players playing close on the cocktail wall. 2 grenades, potentially even 3 being tossed over. That's one to come around the corner. Won't be dealing enough damage. Number 2 gets the first kill, though. Tries to rotate back up from red. And so however, the Zofia gone, so none of the nades are off the board as Afro takes a whole lot of damage from those grenades. Oh, there comes the other side again. They're just changing the sides left and right. But this one fell actually through the hole, I believe, that was created earlier.
3 grenades left. They still have 3 grenades. They're really making sure that they use them. One of the complaints that you sometimes have about these sort of plays is that people don't use the utility in their pocket. Cyclops are hitting them with a barrage before they try and take the trenches. They've called in the mortar strikes and they've said, well, for this long, we're going to hit them, weaken their forces and their artillery, with our artillery even, and then jump in and see what we can take. It's the sort of plays that unfortunately haven't quite worked out for them now. Lugator gets the opener and Suzuki gets the battle back. Black Ray almost catches a loose swing, but as Lugator finds himself playing ring around the roses with Anaton, who's got the health pop, might not know that they've pulled back all the way to the top of red. The quick swing round and the quick pick up gets one, should get dropped by Lugator.
Oh, is he aware? I mean, they did know there was a Jaeger around there, and Lugator picks up the kill. Is he going to be able to get the second Ghost Pro? No, he will not, but Typhon saves him out there. Goes quickly from the freezer, manages to pick up that very final kill with a wallbang as well. That is going to be putting FAV into a round closer to Cyclops, 3-4. And the game is still on. If Cyclops win this game, they will go up to 4th. That will put them into a spot to play at least during the playoffs again. I think the direct qualification to the major is off the cards for now. There is, of course, still a possibility, but it is seeming very unlikely. But as we head into round number 8, we do see the Tachanka coming out. We do see only 4 grenades this time. And as we do see a 6-pick from Gadorada towards Finka or Yana, which is not too uncommon if that will be the case in terms of the operator lineups. So actually the line to come through. So we might be going for a bit of a quicker pace here. Especially since we are downstairs. No need to rappel up in the windows. You just need to find the pace. You just need to find the operators in the weak spot in the setup and try and rush through. No Fink on the board, however. So, you know, that little bit of reduction you get from moving through the barbed wire cannot be mitigated as much as it normally would be. But there is a rotation inside of the freezer, and that is a very interesting one. So if they do realize, we might see a pinch to come through from the VIP window, straight up with a push inside the freezer.
One of the things about obviously operating with an E1D is it's not just the pace that it offers, but also the sound. If you're a team that wants to try and find a quick strike here, especially with a lot of the hatches, plays, and windows, that you've got to be audible to get in and aggressive. It just blankets that. It gives you a bit of cover. It gives you something to move around and underneath. And even that.
The smoke offside. Is that the smoke roaming on the top floor?
Is that a roam smoke from Shin?
That's a roaming smoke with the FMG9 and 3 smoke canisters. But we'll be falling back shortly. Just decided to open up a little bit on side of the window. And that's the Gon 6 in hand currently. So they are wanting to go quickly here. Going for a bit of a spot. Saw some legs down there. Will not be able to hit it yet, but a Shin is rotating back down. You never know what they might find.
Well, they've just seen the edge of Shin, hoping that he goes there, hits his shins, but doesn't quite get the full connection to get rid of Shin, as he is able to find himself some survival now. As Afro is pulling their way closer and closer back towards the side. They're going to pop the flashes over the E1D, covers a bit of audio as the first ADS gets burnt. More drones, more pressure. A grenade doesn't quite fully capture Typhon. There's some fire coming as the swing on the opposite side wants to take the fight, but knows they can't go above because it will be watched, so they just swing round. Gator goes for the double. The second E1D pops off to give them a little bit more movement. They're inside Bakery. They have the support, and they have one more kill to put themselves in with a good balance of pressure. Lugator tries to get aggressive and respond back in, but Black Ray has the cover over the top. As more walls start to fall, it's a spray across either side, but neither fully connects. Suzuki suffers. Afro suffers more. And suddenly it's just down to an ace or clutch situation. Another E1D, but you kind of know where he is.
Key on the ground. You know, why clear utility if they create the openings for you? You just need to clear the players in that case, and that's exactly what they did. You just overwhelm them. There's no way they will kill you all when you're rushing into the bakery with 4 people. It's just a single 416 trying to hold you back. And FAV, they're going to try and do the exact same thing, at least the same side. We might see a different setup to come out this time, though, because we just saw what happened. They just ran in, got the kills, and continued to push on forward. They never really stopped. And that is something you need to prevent. Maybe the rotation in the bakery was not the best decision there, as they were allowed to just freely run through. And as the Zofia now gets swapped down to a Flores, it is definitely Cyclops that's expecting to have a little bit more of a utility problem. Oh no, just swap back to the Zofia in the last very second. The LMG might be a bit more important than we thought beforehand. As the same rotation is being created again by this side of FAV, we might just see Cyclops go for another quick push. Or maybe they're going for the different direction this time, because, you know, maybe an extra gun or an extra operator will be located around the actual bakery site now, even though it was already 3 in the last round.
Yeah, we've obviously got slight differences in terms of how things are going to come together. They still have the smoke and the Tachanka. They're going to see if they could buy as much time as possible. But when they're already flooding in and they're already putting the pressure across, you don't really have anything to work with in terms of trying to buy yourself a little bit more space, because Cyclops sometimes will just charge through rather than pause and wait. It works well in their favor. still going with this extension, still going with the opener, and still going with that Echo Drone, the hold behind this bakery wall. It has a couple of questions, and I guess we'll see if FAV can answer them. But, as you predicted, the push starts on the back.
They want to go for a bit of a different take here, and as they surely will find out about Shin's current position right now as the drone gets taken care of. Flashbangs are being tossed in to waste the ADSs. One comes through, the second one will land, and that's all the ADSs and the shield gone. Suddenly a lot of pressure down onto Shin, with no flashbangs being tossed in. That will be a jump in from the window soon as well. Support seems to be coming up. It's the Echo to play close around the corner, but Afro gets spotted as well, so his position has been made. They need to be very careful in their current positions right now from FAV, because they also know how quickly Cyclops can process.
Afro tries to pull themselves back as that body just on the VIP swing is able to take care of all of those Kairos charges. Sure, they dropped the shield, but without the pressure coming from the opposite split window, with Afro keeping that on a lockdown, they were still free to be able to swing that round and apply some pressure. That's led to a bit of a width and tall here from Cyclops. They're going for an extension above. They're going to see if they can try and put some pressure down the backside of the stairs. Afro just gets the drone back in time, and well, FAV, they have a moment to breathe and try and work out where Cyclops is coming from next.
See, a lot of the utility has been wasted already. They managed to get the shield, they managed to get the ADSs, and they managed to get 2 out of 3 smoke canisters. This allows them to breathe literally a little bit more than they normally would be. Now, deciding to open up some of these vertical angles. C4s will be tossed out to try and meet the sledge here, but the question is, will they be able to catch him? Yes, they will. Black Ray will drop. It's going to be the entry here for FAV. Question is, however, have these verticals been good enough as that's the wall bank to come through? Surely been spotted out there as Gadarada just quickly changes it back to equal numbers.
That's it. Obviously had a spot, worked with it well. Typon, though, is still working. Gets second. And is able to try and bring some of this back in and pull some of that momentum away from Cyclops. As you see, wants to creep down the stairs. That Echo Drone is going to give the game away as he pulls himself back in. It's just tucked in on the corner, but with no real idea where the pressure's coming from, Afro gets the lock-in. Shin with potentially the last swing here, sprays and peppers, and we'll call that out to the rest of the team. Anaton tried to dive past the open hole. He was sprinting, sure, but it was really the only decision he could make.
Yeah, they're trying to go a little bit quicker here on the backside. That failed initially. They weren't quite able to get Shin out of his position completely, just weaken it slightly. But with that shotgun around the corner and the cover being there from the Echo, there was not much that could have gone wrong there for FAV's side. And we're going back to the top floor. Bar Cocktail to come through, and we have a tactical timeout from FAV. Of course, very important round. Currently on 5-4. This is the opportunity for them to try and equalize the score, and after what Cyclops has been trying to achieve, they need to make sure that they're ready for a quick push.
I think it's good to see both teams have been able to take a round and then take their timeout. FAV know that they still have a little bit more that they can build behind here. They're trying to find ways to keep a hold on Cyclops. They were struggling for a little bit, I think it's fair to say. We saw quite a fair few of Cyclops' rounds taking complete control. It's a danger. And breaking up that pace, breaking up the momentum is the most important thing, both by taking a round and taking this time to talk about it. Say, well, what else can we do? How else can we slow them down? And how else can we pull them to an awkward situation as we head back up to the top?
We head back up in approximately 5 seconds, as that is the amount of time FAV has currently left to set up their plan for the remainder of this match. Because there is no more timeouts now. That's it. It's all that your coach can do during this match. The rest is all the preparation that happens beforehand, of course, in terms of bans, in terms of strategies, and counter information, and everything you can imagine. And then, when the game starts, all he has is just that single minute to try and get your team back on the road. And let's see whether or not FAV is going to be able to make this happen. As let's say Ying to come through, we see the counter 6-pick to the Warden. That might be working out quite well, because it was shown it was not trying to be hidden, I believe, by Cyclops.
That's it. They sort of put it on the board. It's in the hands of Anaton to try and roll those Candelas over the top of the push and see if they can get some more support. We only have 2 grenades this time round.
This is the other ultimate, you know, you go from 8 to 2. It's
8 to 2. They've gone for an in a way, a very different approach here, but a more traditional approach. And they're going to see if they can, I guess, try and isolate some of the holes and the angles that FAV were very well to extend before. They were able to still keep a lot of pressure around Cigar Shop. They were able to still keep these big holes from inside the vault and inside the core of the floor. They had a lot of these crossfires, and Cyclops is going to play the game of, well, let's not remove them, but let's cover our movements ourselves.
Which might be working out, but of course, as we just said, there is going to be the Yoko drones, there is going to be the Warden, that is of course able to just deny any of the flashbangs that come out of those Candelas with the smart glasses he wears. So, a bit of a counterplay to be used there, a counter pick to be used either. And FAV, they are looking to get that score up to 5-5, at least equalize the score for now. Lugator going again quite aggressive here inside of the piano. The last time around it was an Alibi playing with the MX4 Storm, but due to operator changes, it's not really going to be the case now. Are you seeing any aggressive swings, however, from those windows on Cyclops' side as they're really busy on that top floor for now?
Well, they've got that prep to open the rotation when they need to. They're going to just see if they can catch.
On 6, I think.
Hey, look at that. Number 2, he's ready to sprint out that door. If he can go wide enough with this, which he is so toying with the idea on it, hoping that he doesn't get caught on the potential, they're still out there. It's a risk, it's a play, it's a bold strategy.
There's 2 people out there as well, and I'm not sure. Dokubi's, Afro with the first kill. Suzuki drops an A-Gator. He's going to be finding himself on a really out-far position. Managed to get the kill to Lugator, though. That is going to be one of the kills to come through. Smokes are being tossed out. Surely the push will be coming in soon now, however. The Candelas are following up shortly together with the grenades.
They're still toying the idea. They were trying to force them to peek the other side, hoping that they would drop down. There is obviously Afro on the back line with this shield to give him a great view of anybody that tries to get a little bit closer. Going to improve that view as he drives the Echo drone even closer. I talked about these huge angles that FAV were playing before, and they still have those extensions behind the shields on the far side. Cyclops are trying to find their route in. It's also worth noting that we haven't forgot about number 2, who is far away, but that man can get to the top quickly if he needs to, can cause problems. If Cyclops find themselves stalling too much, it just takes one rogue play, one rogue moment to pull a Cyclops player out, and everything will fall off in its take.
So sure, a bit more pressure being put up now towards the library side as number 2 is looking to rotate up the red stairs. That's a Nitro to come through. It's Anaton to drop, and suddenly it's a 3-4 situation. FAV again in the lead. More grenades to be tossed out, but that will bounce back just slightly as it is going to be that 4v3. One inside. Diffuser has been dropped. A-Gator tries to recover as he's the very final one left, but he fails to do so. Number 2 coming up onto the red stairs. Picks up the double to end it off. And that means it's going to be an equal scoreline, 5-5. And Cyclops, even though they had a very, very quick pace onto one of their attacking rounds, haven't really been able to find much success or progress ever since, because that one round they won was the only round where they actually managed to get to the side properly.
I think that's the main point, is FAV have a hold that Cyclops are trying to work out where to approach from. They're trying multiple different things. We've talked about it as them as a team before, being good at that. They're good at reading a hold and trying to formulate a way to drive themselves into it. And FAV's holds here, they're trying to find a weak link, but they can't quite get it. It leaves them in the situation of, if we've got to take a risk, if you're going to drop here, then we need someone to go here, and someone to go here, and someone to go here. When you're working that out at that 40-second mark, and you're trying to implement it over the next 10, 15 seconds before you do the actual take over the remaining 20, 25, you're then in this tricky situation of one thing goes wrong and everything's suddenly up in the air, and I think that's down to entirely FAV's holes just being tricky to read and pull apart on the fly.
All right. FAV Gaming looking to find their win against Cyclops to put themselves up into the advantageous position. Or suddenly we would have Cyclops literally to go from 0 to 0 instead, as they are, I guess, some points a little bit more than T1 does. That's literally it. T1 is the only team currently ranked below Cyclops in the league. I want to make sure that that doesn't stay that way, especially with the SI on the line. And I'm going to be checking what they actually needed to qualify, because it seems that with this result, they might actually just completely miss out on SI like Cyclops.
Well, as you check into that, I'll check in to see how the approach comes through. If they can have a little bit more favor, if they can have a little bit more out of FAV, who are otherwise handing them nothing, really. They're keeping themselves coy on their hold. They're not overstretching. We saw and talked about how long that Oryx was on that roam before, and he did strike, but he struck as late as he possibly could. No strike here for the opener of Afro. Cyclops find that first, find that very important opening kill, but they've been able to do this before and then stalled. So they've got to try and keep that momentum moving as they clear across the ground floor.
So, to be correct, Cyclops needs to get, let's say, 6th place in the APAC playoffs. So they need to go to playoffs. If they get below 8th in APAC together, they will have a 2% of qualifying. So it's definitely not looking too good as number 2 and Typhon both pick up a kill here. This could be match point to come in for Fav right here. There is going to be some Candelas that pop, and they try and go quickly here. But Shin picks up yet another kill. It's the plan to be attempted, but suddenly there's not many people left here. Shin spots out one more of the covering members.
Well, there's not many bullets in that Type 89. Gataraut has found himself dug in a corner. Typhon is on the other side of a thin wall. Whoever moves first is likely to get the wall bang. The worry is for Gatarada, well, there's a lot of people around him. The spray comes through, locked off, connects, but you expect somebody else to swing around from the opposite side. Suzuki's trying to do everything that they can to get the split in and the swing round as they still cannot find the confidence to go for the plant. Takes the fight with the castle, pushes him off, doesn't quite get the connection with the next, now does. Shin goes down. And that's a very important take. Number 2, however, importantly, has found his way round to the split of the cover. Has the rotation on the left, has that impact on the right, drops him down on the other side of the castle, suddenly just leaves Hibana in what is an effective 2 versus 1. The pings are continual on the body that's downed in Zulu. They're aware of it, so goes for a big rotation. The hop down is caught. No, it isn't! Suzu C from the top rope is somehow able to swing around and get that. One last fight. It's Fav's, and it's their map point.
There we go, 3 points up for grabs for Fav. All they need to do is just one small task. And the small task might be a little bit bigger than I'm making it sound like. It's just to get the final round against Cyclops here, right now. And then they get 3 points. 6v5, current scoreline. We're going to Kitchen, the site, which Fav managed to win once when Cyclops couldn't quite get the VIP under control. But Cyclops also managed to completely steamroll once they managed to get the bakery under control. So you can only estimate the push that they're trying to put up now. I can almost guarantee you they'll be trying to go for the bakery again.
It's been their only real success, to be honest. It's been the only time where they've been able to have proper ground and proper assurances of their take, and this was shouldn't have been his.
No, it shouldn't have been.
I guess it could be one of the things where the model's looking the other way. You know, sometimes the model for one person is one route because the animation of the hop over. Either way, still. Caught on the vault.
Yeah, caught on the vault, managed to get the kill. Now 6 on 5. And we do see a similar setup to come through, however, this time not with a Tachanka, just the ordinary shotgun that will be brought by number 2 in Shin. And now it is going to be a very important round for Cyclops, because I'm just quickly checking. It seems like that if they do not make the playoffs, it is a 2% of qualifying for the 6th Invitational for this team that managed to surprise many. And we expect it to definitely be back in the future. And they need to make sure that they start picking up the points now, rather sooner than later. And if this is going to be heading into Fav's way, this might just be the end of their SI dreams, or at least soon to be coming in. It's going to be the Flores RC Retiro, though, that takes care of some of the utility behind the bakery. As I said, that might be on their focus, as that was the one time they managed to find a success on this side, and the 2 times they've played it. It allows them to at least deal with Typhon a little bit more effectively. However, magnets are still in play. 1 deployed right above the door, 1 more in pocket. Surely will be tossed out as soon as the first one will be wasted by a potential grenade to come through, because they checked and they got the ADS, but they might not be aware of the magnets to be in place.
Journeying their way ahead the top floor to get it cleared sooner rather than later as they try and find their way to bury themselves down. We did lose the sledge previously to a C4 as the opener on one of the rounds, but since then on, it's been a little bit more of a wide stretch. They've prepped themselves for the potential of a rotation and the take down the bottom of white. Shin pulls himself back into VIP, sets himself up behind a shield and holds onto a power position. Again, it's this waiting game. See if we can work out exactly where Cyclops is trying to drive the knife in and try and, I guess, drive it right back.
All right. It's going to get around trying to go for the first frag here. Needs to find his spots the head of the smoke, but won't be able to land the shots. And Gator, well aware of that position as well, is trying to find it instead. The RCE comes around the corner, forces Shin into a different position. Again, the ADSs are gone, and Gator and Blackray both pick up a kill. Suddenly, it seems like it could be going their way, as it is going to be a 3-on-5 situation with just a minute left on the clock.
Shin is in a very tricky situation here with the guns that he has. Sure, you can make that gun sing, but it is in no way easy from ranges that cover pretty much half of the map. Blackray's down above. The C4 didn't quite get the full drop on him, and he should be able to be recovered, but with 50 seconds, they're going to put their focus towards the VIP fight first. Find it, drop it, pull themselves back round, though. One more's locked off. Blackray still on the ground, 40 seconds, and the pings are continual. It seems like they're actually just going to try and push on in this 3 versus 2 situation. No, he's back up now. And, well, Suzu C gets the lock off from above.
Just up to Typo now, a 1v4 situation. Spots the first one, goes to the pre-fire, but won't be able to land it as now the diffuser is into a safe spot. The plan does go down. 45 seconds soon to be on the clock as Anaton tries to find the angle. Spots the player, gets the kill. It's overtime that will decide which of these two teams will be taking a win here today. And Cyclops, they managed to fight back for now. They managed to get 2 very important kills onto a take that they weren't able to nail down before. And now they go onto the attack. Yeah, 2 more rounds. Of course, this time it will be, you know, a swap of the sides after each round. But they start off on the attack and then get to a defense. It could be done after that. But maybe, just maybe, we need that 3rd round to be played out. As Bar and Cocktail is yet again on the board. FAV choosing to go to that top floor. They know how close they are. They have picked up a singular point, which is going to be very important for them. It's not going to be enough yet to at least make sure that they are distancing themselves from Cyclops itself.
OT. And we have seen this swing round into the way of the defenders generally, so it puts FAV in a very good position to try and lock it off. They've obviously been able to build some momentum here, and this was the take where we saw Cyclops stumble and stutter twice. They started with a bit of a quick approach, but as soon as they actually came to how do we enter this building across the top, how do we put the pressure to the site itself, they just could not find a route through. We saw Oryx was sort of free to move around and play underneath because they didn't go for an entrance up the stairs, which could be an option. Instead, they're going for a bit of a traditional take, but without the ability to force them out of these scenarios, these holds, these situations, and these huge angles that have otherwise been enjoyed. Well, maybe Flores is the difference, says Anat.
Maybe Flores is indeed the difference that we shall get to see. Worked out quite well in the last round, managed to pick up quite a bit of utility. As a Gemini Replicator here is being used to stop any spawn peaks from happening. That's something we do not often see on the side of Cyclops. They're often willing to take these gunfights, but just quickly checking with the Gemini shows how important these points might be to them. As I mentioned, if they do not end up in the playoffs, it's a 2% chance for them to make it to the 6th Invitational at the end. Of course, a 0% chance to make it to the majors. So they need the points, and they need them now. They need to end up in that 4th place at least to fight for a spot in that major. And as the RCEs are coming down, they're starting to destroy the little tables, little side tables. Of course, due to the fact that I believe there was an ADS behind it, not quite sure.
Either way, it's gone now, and they're going to see if they can focus that attention potentially elsewhere. Typon is able and offering to put a bit of a swing inside towards white. We've seen those C4s offer some support before. There is this stretch and this roam that's otherwise being enjoyed, but they haven't quite been able to find some success with it. Cyclops, they're paying attention now to the plays that are happening off-site. That just
got muted.
Gets caught. Yeah, it was just teetering on the balance. It activated, but as it landed and rolled, well, there is almost a trade. It goes Gatorada's favor. There's an opening pick. It hasn't always been the be-all and end-all, though. This is the tricky bit, and as I said, maybe just trying to find your way up the stairs could be the option. The first time We've seen them in a position like this aggressive and with this much potential, but there's still a roaming player underneath.
There's still a roaming player underneath, indeed, but the second grenade will be dealing a lot of damage to Afro. But the first one actually opened up the opportunity for AEG to go through. Picks up one, picks up two. That suddenly seems to be in a Cyclops round to come through. The plant is going down soon. 45 seconds on the clock. Number 2 below. Lugator is doing his best, but gets picked up as he tries to rotate out. It's just the one member left. It's a treat to come through, but in the end, it's Cyclops that get that win and put themselves into match point now, and suddenly it's looking like this match might go their way. But there's going to be another defensive round they need to win, and otherwise we're going to that max OT. Surely they do not want it to go that far. His bar cocktail has been chosen. Cyclops opting to go to that top floor. The clash is being hovered over, will be locked in for now, but of course a 6th pick could still occur if they want it. If they want to change something to a different operator. 15 seconds left, they have to decide. Seems like the mute will be going. Turn into a mirror. And I can understand that. That allows you to try and hold off towards the piano side just a little bit more effectively, depending on where you place them, of course.
Lines to line?
Lines to line is always 300 IQ 6 pick, as we would say.
Team, they were talking about it because they know how important this is, and they know that this map has only been defender-sided.
Yep.
Cyclops being able to take an attack round when it mattered the most is that big stretch, and to be fair, they did it twice in a row. The one to get them to OT and the one to put them in the lead. That's 2 rounds threaded by Cyclops. Now they're back on their defense, a game that they played so aggressively, and they used so much movement and momentum. Anaton on the clash is going to be a fresh pick and potentially some fresh problems for FAV to try to surmount here. The top floor hasn't been successful for them either.
See, I can understand why they put Anaton onto the clash right now. He hasn't really been in the game. He's only managed to pick up 2 kills so far. Of course, we're used to see much more from him. And if you look at the rest of Cyclops, 12, 15, 6, 14, all of them are really truly gunning out there. Maybe that clash into a player that is not quite hitting the shots right now, but has the opportunity to play a very big role in terms of information and potentially challenging these players as well. It's going to be the big difference maker. And Cyclops continue to set up, continue to create their lines of sight as the pressure surely will be mounting soon as Black Ray that could potentially go into the first gunfight. It's a Gemini replicator to be activated. He now knows one is right behind the bus stop and thus he has to rotate. He could be wallbanged still. So slowly tries to fall back. Had to stop quickly because of the E1D. Surely didn't want that wallbang.
Look at that. Fav's just like, we're out of here. We know that he's going to move away because he thinks that we might punish them, but we've got to get to safety. We've got to get up to the top, especially with the diffuser, which has almost been dropped before. Cyclops are lethal, and they enjoy exploring the outside realm of this map especially. And it's a caution that they have to now pay attention to because they still have the site itself to break through and the clash, the new problem that's on the board for them to mount.
That could be a jump out here from Black Ray. He seems to be ready for it. It's the first kill from Shin to come in, though. They need to find a response. Surely the call comes through. There's a man repelled up on the minibar window right now. You know, some of the runouts are being held, but not the one that Black Ray's currently debating whether or not he should use it. He's really checking it out. You can just wait for him to just press that vol button, but decides to not go for it yet. Just holds on, opens up a secondary door though, seems to make them at least a little bit aware of the plans that are out there. No pressure yet.
He's buying time. He's buying time and putting a bit of fear into them because now they have to be aware they're going to put that E1D as he went for the rotation round to the bottom of white instead, but that was being staunchly held. In fact, no. He's found his way towards pillars. He's steadily creeping his way back up, trying to cause as many problems as possible. Potentially wants to hop out on the windows that will give him more of a flat strike here, but otherwise everybody's left. They found their way inside the building. They found themselves inside piano, something that Cyclops from this push and this take just could not find a way through to. The pings come across the flat board. There is an alibi dropped on the swing. Shin, well, they're gonna get a read on him sooner rather than later because the clash is moving. It's Black Ray on the pullback round that could be the next problem for them.
Now there is going to be a reinforced wall, but that's going to be the clash gone. Number 2 managed to pick up a kill as well. C responds and drops that defuse with 30 seconds left on the clock. It's a 4-on-2, and Gatorada is trying to retake the piano. Successfully does so, and now wants to continue this charge. They need to bring it back to equal numbers, and both of them right now are inside of that piano trying to go for this peak. They spotted the player, but they know they're coming in from the other side in the meantime as well, as the diffuser has been recovered and the plant's going down. The double kill from Taipon from the freezer though locks it off, and Max OT it is. It is FAV that brings it all the way to round number 15. And Cyclops, who failed to just clutch it out.
Almost pulled themselves back from what was pretty much a 5 versus 2 scenario to a round win and to a map win, most importantly. But instead, well, if it was defender-sided for most of the map, we found ourselves in that attacking swing, that sachet that has carried us now back towards the top floor. 3 in a row. FAV believe they're the ones that can lock it off. They've gone back to utilizing the Oryx, potentially for now. It's not entirely locked in as of yet, but with how many players are having these meteoric performances, 5 players over 10 kills throughout this game across the board, well, hey, Clash, she's not done yet either.
They're not done indeed. It's being brought up yet once more, this time by Afro. Also a player that hasn't really been able to get into the game as much as you might want to. Also, neat little trick there, just using the Oryx Rayma dash into the bar. Destroys every single bit of it, which allows for visibility, of course. Make sure that they don't have an opportunity to just hide and try and go for a quick, sneaky plant, as you can just look through. 15 seconds on this final prep phase. The last round to be played for today's play game and for this game as well. Will it be Cyclops or will it be FAV? That is going to be the big question. Cyclops desperately looking for some extra points to put themselves up, first of all, above FAV, but get into a position where they can still actively contest for the playoffs as well. Because remember, there's only 7 play days in an APAC season, not 9, just like Europe. Because there's less teams. And as this is play day 4, we're already over halfway there now, so it is starting to take shape, the leaderboards are. And that means that if you're not within that top 4, you're going to have to make a comeback throughout the season.
Waiting patiently to punish a hatch approach, a play that we haven't seen on this game so far, but one that can be massive. I guess we'll see. It's the sledge that's going to go first, and this works perfectly for Shin's favor. There it is.
Oh,
there it goes. It fell down. Almost dropped by himself. Tried to time it perfectly, but unfortunately was almost stupendously backfiring in his own face.
It was a very good idea. It could have worked out. You could have picked up Black Ray there. That would have been a massive kill, as he has been of tremendous value on the side of Cyclops. Anaton working on clearing out the utility. Sees 2 pieces of barbed wire, 3 pieces of barbed wire, but instead we'll be going for the piano. Maybe even going for a bit of a drone clear here, trying to figure out where these players are, and as a result does not know actually a player is inside of the piano. So surely, hopefully, they're not trying to act on that information because it's not completely accurate.
Well, that is a danger. The buck is underneath opening, but hey, there's somebody underneath him. He's in a bit of a dangerous sandwich here, as number 2 is the one that wants to see if he can try and buy some life and some time. But yes, caught out in the rotation. The drone is on the flank watch, as is the buck. Unfortunately, I suppose, for Cyclops at this moment in time, it takes out the pressure he can apply underneath. They're in a sort of mutually assured destruction, and number 2 goes for a way out round the outside. Can't quite get the connection, pulls his way back in. That buys them a stretch. Shin gets the opener here, drops Black Ray, puts them into a big pressure situation.
Is this I don't know if Suzuki is in. No, he's not. But the diffuser at least has been dropped. It's a 5-on-3 situation. Cyclops have a mountain to climb. They started off. Gator picks up the first. Anaton spots the second inside the piano as Gatorada starts cleaning up as well. They're starting to take this control ever so slightly. Player coming around the corner. The flashbang just wrongly timed. Goes aggressively with the skeleton key. Deals a little bit of damage but doesn't get the kill. Is Gator to drop down. The diffuser still dropped. 35 seconds. Gatorada and Anaton, the last 2 remaining on Cyclops. They need to make this happen. Anaton hasn't had the best of games yet, but he needs to perform now to make sure that this is going to be their round. Misses the opportunity on getting the kill on the Clash, and that means he will be slowed down. Now for the remainder of the round, was Afro is just trying to hold back as much as he can with these two final members remaining onto the stairs. Now going for a bit of a flank, going for the flank. It's one kill to come through from Anaton. 10 seconds left. It's going to be Afro that potentially drops. There's 5 seconds on the clock, and number 2 is down. In the meantime, they need to get this kill. That's going to be aim fire headshot to come through, and it goes off, and it's FAV that win it. FAV win the match just by 2 points.
Unbelievable end to that. The Clash fighting for her life, holding on, and just does all the way to the end. It was so close. The moments with the skeleton key swing onto Pixel. This game went max OT, max distance all the way. Huge performance.